If you grew up in the 1990s, your childhood ran on a completely different operating system. We are counting down 10 reasons the decade is unforgettable. From scheduled TV rituals and playground battles to early gaming, dial-up internet, and toys that defined your social rank. Some of these will take you right back. Let's kick it off with number 10, and a night that had the whole planet holding its breath. In the 10th place, the turn of the millennium was not just a calendar flip, it was a worldwide cliffhanger. As December 31st, 1999 crept toward midnight, the planet braced for the Y2K bug, a computer glitch so hyped that industry analysts estimated $300 billion was spent on fixes and emergency plans. News anchors ran dramatic countdowns, families stocked up on bottled water, and everywhere the mood was part sci-fi thriller, part block party. For kids, it meant staying up late, scribbling in diaries about the moment the clock struck 12 and wondering if the lights might blink out. That single night pulled everyone, parents, neighbors, and even entire cities, into a shared suspense, a rare moment when technology, anxiety, and hope collided. While most nights in the 90s felt ordinary, the millennium's arrival proved just how electrifying a single deadline could be. Number 9. The internet in the 90s was not a private escape. It was a full-blown family event. In 1995, only 14% of US households had any kind of internet connection at home. By 2000, that number had jumped to 41%. But going online still meant negotiating with everyone in the house. Dial-up access tied up the family phone line, and the screeching modem handshake was a soundtrack you couldn't ignore. Parents set strict online hours. Siblings argued over who got to check their email, and every minute online felt precious, especially with monthly plans hovering around $19.95. Instead of scrolling endlessly on personal devices, families huddled around a single glowing screen, waiting for pages to load and sharing the thrill of that first web search. The internet's slow arrival made each session feel special and a little bit noisy, turning screen time into a communal ritual that is almost impossible to imagine today. In 8th place, the school computer lab was more than just a room full of beige monitors. It was a portal to a new world. In 1991, only 18% of public schools had a dedicated computer lab. But by 1998, that number soared to 51%. For a generation of 90s kids, this meant precious minutes each week lined up at the door, clutching floppy disks and hoping for a turn. Oregon Trail and Number Munchers weren't just games, they were rites of passage. The whir of a disk drive, the thrill of surviving a virtual river crossing, and the infamous line, "You have died of dysentery," became classroom legends. These early digital encounters didn't just break up the school day. They sparked curiosity about technology, teaching kids the basics of computers long before laptops and smartphones were everyday tools. The lab's limited hours made every session feel special, turning a simple room into a gateway for future digital explorers. Number 7. Music in the 90s wasn't just background noise, it was a badge of identity, carried everywhere in your backpack or clipped to your belt. By 1999, compact discs made up nearly 90% of all music sales in the United States. And the Sony Discman turned those shiny discs into a portable soundtrack for daily life. Suddenly you could slip on a pair of foam headphones, pop in your favorite mix, maybe the Spice Girls' debut or Backstreet Boys' Millennium, and disappear into your own world, even if you were just riding the bus to school. The anti-skip feature on newer Discmans meant you could actually walk, run, or rollerblade without the music stuttering, a small miracle at the time. Making a mix compact disc for a friend or trading albums at lunch became its own kind of social currency. For the first time, music was something you could curate, control, and claim as your own. One track, one playlist, and one set of headphones at a time. Number 6. Grabbing fast food in the 1990s was nothing short of a pop culture event. The 1997 launch of McDonald's Teenie Beanie Babies turned simple drive-thrus into scenes of pure chaos. News outlets reported lines wrapping around the block, with parents and collectors crowding counters for the latest plush animal. The demand got so intense that McDonald's had to enforce a strict one per customer limit after stores ran out of stock within hours. It wasn't just about the food, it was about scoring that limited edition toy, trading with friends at school, and feeling like you were part of a nationwide craze. Fast food chains became playgrounds for the imagination, where a happy meal could spark a collecting frenzy and even lead to crowd control incidents. These wild promotions gave kids a taste of real-world excitement, long before apps and online drops made everything digital and solitary. Number 5. Sleepovers in the 90s turned living rooms into mini movie theaters and friendship labs. The average kid doubled their usual screen time, clocking over 3 hours of TV in a single night, mostly VHS tapes rented from the corner store, rewound with that satisfying whir before the next round of pizza and Mountain Dew. Sleepovers weren't just about staying up late, they were a full sensory event. Rental stores ran weekend deals, 2 movies for the price of 1, fueling marathon viewings of classics like The Sandlot and Space Jam. Between films, conversation drifted to school gossip, crushes, and the latest rumors about which Power Ranger was leaving the show. The glow of the TV, the sticky hands from too much soda, and the ritual of passing around a greasy pizza box made these nights a rite of passage. In a world before streaming and group chats, sleepovers were how friendships got forged, one VHS marathon at a time. Number 4. The Game Boy turned every car ride, waiting room, and school bus into a playground. By 1995, Nintendo had shipped nearly 46 million units worldwide, and the secret weapon was simple. Every Game Boy came bundled with Tetris. That block-dropping puzzle wasn't just a time killer, it was a competition, a challenge, and sometimes even a family feud. When Pokémon Red and Blue launched in 1998, link cable battles made the Game Boy a social magnet, letting friends trade and duel right on the back seat. Suddenly, gaming wasn't locked to the TV or the living room, it was wherever you happened to be, and downtime became game time. The Game Boy didn't just fill the quiet moments, it made them something to look forward to, one green-tinted screen at a time. Number 3, the 90s playground wasn't just a place to burn off energy, it was a daily showcase of who owned the coolest toys. Suddenly, bragging rights meant showing off a Tamagotchi clipped to your backpack, and the soft beep of that digital pet calling for food could spark a lunchtime rescue mission. Bandai sold an estimated 40 million Tamagotchis worldwide, turning virtual caretaking into a full-time obsession. Meanwhile, the Super Soaker transformed summer into a neighborhood arms race. Hasbro's high-powered water blaster raked in $200 million in its first 2 years, and every kid who showed up with the latest model became an instant backyard legend. The stakes were high. Who could keep their Tamagotchi alive the longest? Who could launch a water jet across the yard? Who could claim the title of playground champ? In a world before smartphones and social media, these toys were pure social currency, broadcasting status with every beep and every blast. Number 2. The playground of the 1990s was a full-throttle, analog marketplace. And nothing captured that energy quite like the Pogs and Skip-Its crazes. More than 2 billion Pogs, those cardboard discs with wild designs, were sold in the US alone between 1994 and 1996. Recess transformed into a high-stakes arena, with kids slamming metal slammers onto stacks, chasing that perfect clack as the pile exploded across the cafeteria table. The stakes felt real. Win a round and you walked away with your opponent's best pieces. But the frenzy didn't stop at collecting. In 1991, over 600,000 Skip-Its flew off shelves, turning blacktops into a blur of neon loops and counting clickers. These simple toys sparked fierce face-to-face competition and even led to school bans. PTA meeting minutes from the mid-1990s are filled with debates about no more slamming games disrupting class. In a world before smartphones, the playground was its own social network where every trade, challenge, and ban carried real weight. The tactile rush of a slammer, the risk of losing your prized Pog, and the thrill of setting a new Skip-It record defined what it meant to be a kid, and made every recess feel like a championship round. And finally, in first place, after school in the 1990s meant one thing above all: television, not streaming. More than 95% of American homes had at least one television, according to Nielsen, making the living room set the center of every weekday afternoon. Nickelodeon alone reached about 69 million households each week in 1994, turning shows like Rugrats, Power Rangers, and Hey Arnold into nationwide rituals. Kids rushed home to catch their favorite cartoons before dinner, because if you missed the 4:30 slot, there were no second chances, no rewinds, no replays, no streaming. The Snick countdown on Saturday nights was more than a promo. It was a synchronized event, with every kid in the country glued to the same block at the same time. That fixed schedule created a shared pop culture heartbeat, where jokes from yesterday's episode became playground currency. In a world before endless on-demand options, appointment television was the ultimate cultural glue, binding friends, siblings, and even entire neighborhoods into the same after-school rhythm. It's the kind of communal experience that is almost impossible to replicate in today's personalized, always online media world. Across all 10 reasons, one truth stands out. The 90s were defined by shared moments you could not pause, skip, or replay. That sense of anticipation and togetherness is what nostalgia really misses. Our analog childhood shaped how we connect even now. What do you miss most? Drop your memories below.